Hi, this is a Volt Vector video. In this video, we're going to make the Retrieval Chat. The Retrieval Chat is the heart of the Volt Vector system. It's designed to work with the prompts we ship, embeddings, and organize those embeddings in namespaces and the profiles to be able to retrieve data and talk about it with the LLM. So we're going to create a new one right here. We're going to call it Add New from the All Chats. We're going to call this Retrieval. I'm going to leave the optional title blank, and it's Retrieval Chat. It's going to use the default namespace. It is required to have a namespace, or else this Retrieval Chat would not work. So all embeddings always need a namespace, and you need to put a namespace here as well. Context, I'm going to use Retrieval default system prompt. The language, I want to keep it just as it is, but you could put Spanish. I'll show an example. Actually, if you ask a question in Spanish, it's going to respond in Spanish too. So we'll get to that point. You can change the chat tone. Right now I'm just going to leave it as is. And I'm going to use the Retrieval default prompt. This default prompt is actually the one that's going to take the question from the person and then combine it with cited sources and send that to the LLM. You have a welcome message here. I'm just going to change this to that. So that's the initial message. It's not sent to the LLM. This is just a way to help people that come to your site use the chat. Send button, this is the screen reader text, so you can change that for the submit buttons. Send a message is the text area where people input content. You can change that placeholder as well. Profiles, we made these profiles before. For this one, we're going to choose Volt Simple Default Chunk. That's going to use, the chunking part doesn't matter, it's the simple MySQL, so it's only going to find embeddings under the default namespace that are under the simple MySQL. That's what this means for that profile. The LLM profile, we're going to use the base one again. It's going to connect to OpenAI. Restrictions, this is your cited sources. So cited sources, in this case, I want to make it, let's make it 3 actually. So that's going to be, it's going to return up to 3 cited sources when someone responds. You could change this up or down. The more cited sources you include, the more you're going to use up your API costs. So it's because it's going to send that much more text. So actually, let's just do 2. Let's do 2. Cosine similarities, when it compares embeddings, you want a score of 0.8 or above for it to be included as a citing source. So you can play that up and down depending on how people are asking your chat and how they're finding things to make it a little bit better. You get your no results message found. This is if there's no cited sources that hit this cosine similarity limit, then it'll show this message and not. So the only thing that was hit actually in that point would be the embeddings API and not the LLM API. You can disable the chat if logged out. You can disable cited sources. So it will use the citing sources, but it just won't show them underneath the chat response. And we got the message limit. I'm going to keep it at 1,000 this time, and you can change the message limit for each message. Style, light, dark theme. I'm going to leave it as light. Disable icons. You can also change the icons and give a name for the chat, or user chat or assistant chat. And they got the help tab. Once you get to this point, ready to save. So I've saved it, I copied and pasted. Ooh, let's do it here. Here we go. You can hit update here. We're gonna go do it from the block editor. Find the shortcode block, put that in. And let's use the Retrieval Chat now. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste some questions I have instead of typing them in. So first one, just a simple one. How do you set up WordPress debug? So right now, it embedded how do you set up WordPress debug, and then it compared it using the cosine similarity, and it found some cited sources. If it embedded how do you set up WordPress debug, and then didn't find any cited sources, that's when it would say, we didn't find any matching results, try another thing. So here we go. Part of this response, we've got markdown, so we got some coding here, put the coding in line, and then we got our cited responses, so we can look and kind of verify everything and also click the thing. I'm going to reload just to show you. So everything is in English, but you can also have someone ask the same question in Spanish. All right, so the same thing, it embedded it, it compared the cosine similarity, and now it sent it, because the original question's in Spanish, the LLM knew, I don't say knew, it responded back in Spanish. And we got the same cited sources here too. Show you a live example, support chat on volt vectors, and this is going to be for the knowledge base and run through things. So I want to ask it, where do I set up an embeddings profile? Let's see what it comes up with. All right. So that's the correct response, and it gave me a chat here, gave me a cited source, so I could go down there. So let's get one more. So this one, it's still using content from here, and it's giving me pros and cons of using that. So I wanted it in a list, so I made sure to say it that way. Yep, that's pretty reasonable, the pros and cons. And then you can actually go see the article here as well. Okay, so that's it. That's the retrieval chat found in Volt Vectors.